Alright, so I'm recording a bunch of really great Blender videos for my students. Now, I'm absolutely in love with Blender. I use Maya and ZBrush and all that great stuff, and Toon Boom for my classes that I teach in 2D animation. But I mean, Blender is all of that in one and for free. So I actually decided to donate as well to the Blender Foundation. That's how excited I am about their stuff. Um, so anyway, the this is Blender's intro, and we're just gonna go up here to File, and we're going to go to New, and we're gonna start off by just doing some 2D animation. And I'm gonna do a series of 2D animation stuff, and then I'm gonna go right into doing some ZBrush style videos inside of Blender. So right off the bat, you're looking at your 2D view here. You can see we have a pen. We have these different layers off to the side, and down here is our timeline. If we want to add more elements to or more layers to our timeline, we simply click here. So let's say we're going to do like a bouncing ball sort of tutorial, right? I'm just going to kind of drag this over. I'm going to switch between my mouse and my Wacom, my stylus pen. All right, so with this GP lines, I'm going to rename it down here. RL for rough line work that we can always clear it up later. You see where it says lines here? I'm going to just name this background, and maybe we'll throw another layer on in here. Let's throw another layer. And let's do, let's name this layer here um, arc. So I sort of plan out some of my arcs and my timing on one layer. Now over here, you want to make sure that you have this last option on, which is onion skinning for each one of these, so we could see it on every frame. So right off the back on our arc layer, well, let's start with our background layer. So here I'm going to click on my line tool here, click, and if you want to snap it, you can hold shift, and there's my background for now, simple background. Select my pen. Oh, you have to hit enter to lock that in. I'm going to select my pen here, go all the way up to arc, and I'm just going to draw some, actually let's have it like it's falling from the sky. That's a little bit more fun, and then it bounces. There we go. All right, and then it just kind of dribbles off. Now I'm going to lock this layer, and actually, well, just kind of um, let's sort of talk a little bit about like how we kind of we sort of how we can start to plan this out a little bit. So say I'm gonna say, you know what, I want it for half a second, right? So let's say 12 frames to go from here to here, right? So one trick is on my rough layer, right? So I'm gonna jump up here. I'm gonna lock this so I don't draw on it because I'm gonna draw the ball here on one, and then I'm gonna go all the way to 12. I'm gonna move this all the way over to 12. And I'm going to draw my ball squashed. And I'm just going to go to 0. I'm going to hit spacebar. And if I like that timing or the way that feels, I can go to 6 and I can say, you know what, it's going to accelerate here. And I'll go to 0 here and see how that is. Now, it's really neat about essentially digital art is this. We could really just say, you know what, I want it to accelerate a little bit. I want it to hit the ground a little bit quicker, and I want it to fall a little bit longer. So what's cool is we could jump between these different frames by just hitting the arrow keys left and right. So I'm going to hit the right button, go to 2, and so this is 1. Here's my 2. And once I go to 2 and I draw this out, you'll see it'll set that to onion skin. And one more time, if you don't see that, you can turn those options on here or make sure that onion skinning here or onion skinning is turned on here if you don't see it. All right, so I want this to kind of ease in. So I'm going to jump from 2 to 3. I'll throw another frame in here. 4. And a lot of times you're going to get wobbliness with the way I'm doing it where the balls are different sizes. So we'll look at in another video creating more puppet style animation. So let's go ahead and hit spacebar on this. And I think that's way too slow still, right? So let's go ahead and on frame 1, let's select that frame. There we go. There we go. Okay. So let's jump back to frame 4. On 5, we'll have it ease in a little bit more. And then 6, a little bit more overlap. And then on 7, we'll leave the empty frame there. 8, 9. And I think what we'll do is we'll have it jump from here. Maybe we'll have it like torpedo into the ground on 11. So something like this. You know what? I think what we'll do is we'll make it look a little cooler. We'll have it hit the ground on 10, almost shift directions on 11, like start to, and then on 12 it flattens. All right, so let's watch that. So it kind of just soups up like, so very slow ease in, you can see that, and then a really quick drop from there to there. And that jump might be a little bit too crazy, right? So let's go ahead and add one more here. And let's see how that looks. So really it's kind of just a nice quick way of like creating and testing animations. So we have that. And then we can just plan it out from there, right? I can say, all right, well, I want this one to be the same thing, 12, or maybe even, I mean, I could stretch it out too, but let's say we go over to 22 here. See how this feels. Squash is here, and then maybe somewhere around there. We're at our high point, so let's see how that looks. If we like that, the feeling of that timing, then I could say, okay, well, here's where it hits there. So let's do a quick, let's see, this is frame 13 where it squishes. And then on the next frame, it starts to stretch out. And 15, it's up top. So here's 14, starting to return to its regular size. Pops all the way there really quickly. And then we have a very slow roller coaster style fall into our frame here. And then it squashes. And we do the same thing. Starts to extend out. And let's jump up to 30. And remember, we can move all these frames around. So the halfway point here is 26. Now this gap here is almost longer than the last gap, which really should be shorter. But what I'm going to do is something like this. Now this is really bad. Like the volume is all over the place. But we're getting the idea, right? So let's kind of, we'll have it ease in up here. And then just have it snap and then roller coaster down. Anyway, I'm sure you get the idea and you'd like to kind of play with this stuff on your own. So now I'm just sort of tweening between this. Let me hit Control Z to undo that. So now when I go back and I press play, you can see I've got my little bouncing ball there. So that's really just sort of the basics of just sketching and creating a bouncing ball. What I'll do is the next couple of videos, we'll get into sort of, as we build this out, we'll take a look at how do we paint this.